Hello, and thank you for coming. My name is Han Mertekin. I have a practice based in Istanbul and Strasbourg, France. And I will show you a building that we recently completed in Turkey, in the Aegean coast of Turkey. It's an olive oil mill in a land doing more than 250,000 square meters of land. We are working on that geography for more than 20 years. And no matter the geography, no matter where we are designing any building, we have a couple of obsessions. The first one is to be simple as possible. Second thing is to anchor the building on its site. And the third one is being specific, if possible, hyper-specific. This is the land. In the adjacent land, we already designed a house for the same client. And we've been asked to design a small olive oil mill, olive oil press. Not for a large, big industrial production, but quite a production. And the only thing that the client gave us as a brief was that the process will be based on gravity. He said that no pumping will take place in the process of getting the olive oil. And these are restrictions that we love very much. And okay, we said we have more than 250,000 square meters of land with a quite different topography. And the first thing was to find the best place to create that kind of a section, getting the olive from the ground floor, processing by the gravity, and then the product will go out by so-called basement. And then it took a couple of days to check every single part of the land to find the best place. And then we finally found it. And then the program was about production, a shop and kind of a showroom, and another building, separated building, for the storage and a guest room. So we had 3 buildings, but we had to bring them together in a way that somebody's traveling between 3 buildings should be protected from sun or rain, from climatic conditions. And then we saw that the problem is not just about designing buildings, but more than that, designing a shelter to cover built areas, unbuilt areas, transitional spaces, all kind of different issues. Then we concentrated on that. And another, not an obsession, but a methodology that we apply at the beginning of any project, we start asking questions and we concentrate on questions instead of immediately starting to try to find solutions. We take our time and we concentrate on problems in order to diminish it, if possible, to just one problem. And again, that was the case. Okay, the shelter. Let's design the shelter first. Then we ended with that scheme, which is, as you can see, we have a tower with the storage below and the guest house upstairs, a bridge linking the building to the main production area, and at the other end of that internal street that we designed, the shop and the showroom. And another thing that we push just a bit, we are not imposing it, but to use the local materials, local handwork, local people, if possible, to build our buildings in that geography, and trying to have familiar forms that you see all over that place, in the villages at that Aegean coast of Anatolia, but to improve a bit the way they build buildings and to learn, to enlarge our field of knowledge by vernacular traditions. That's why we kept the masses as simple as they are. And we used local natural stone. And we had that prefabricated steel construction imported from Istanbul to the site. Then the challenge was for the local builders to fine-tune their way of doing things, their way of traditional building techniques, to create a dialogue between the locals and the local techniques and that steel structure industrially produced in a very accurate way. Then local people had to fit in. We are working with them for more than 15 years. At every project, we create that dialogue and we push them one step away to improve their techniques, because this is another way of sustainability. Now, instead of forgetting the local techniques and materials and then proposing totally brand new stuff, we like to deal with that existing knowledge dating from hundreds and hundreds of years, but to improve it a bit, just a bit. Then it was, at the beginning, quite difficult for them to respect that accurately built building by their way of doing things. But finally, they achieved that refinement by the way that we're doing things for more than 30 or 40 years. Now we have just concrete, local stone, and the steel construction. And this is the surrounding. As you can imagine, the climate is very hot during summertime. Then for the shelter, for the roof, we choose copper, that we expecting that by the time it will be oxidized and will be turned to that shade of green. Well, this is the result. Then it took a couple of weeks for them to develop their skills to fit in. But at the interiors, there is this office area that is at the mezzanine, and the ground floor is just stuff for production. A guest house. A couple of images for what we have done together before. This is the house that we designed for the same client next to the land. This is another house at the same geography with the same builders. And another one, again, not far from the plot, with same people. And there is a brief, very short video of the building, and then I will finish it. Can we have the video, please? Thank you.
Any question? Do you have any limitation for the context and the natural environment? I mean, there is any specific limit from the, I don't know, heritage or something you cannot do?
No.
So was your choice to use those materials to save the, I mean, the factory could have been more aggressive, could be contemporary, could be different. So this is your choice to do something to be in coherence with the context.
Oh yes, it was purely our decision because the only limitation was the built area. We couldn't exceed that built area.
Okay, and what about the request of your client? I mean, when they ask you to design the building?
Well, we know each other for more than 10 years. And then once we've been in a lecture together, and when they asked my client why they decided to work for such a building with an architect, because, you know, production areas are not something that all the clients would invest on architecture and design. And the couple replied that the land was deserving it. And then they are so happy to have this building.
Okay. Thank you so much.
Thank you.